Happy Friday! It feels like spring outside.
I know, what's up, Ryan? We are in for our weekly real estate wrap up, our Ticor title talk. We are here. I know the sun's finally coming out. It's gorgeous out. This week has been like the taste of spring we've all been wanting. The taste of our San Diego weather. We finally have it back.
I know, it's rad, and it's Easter weekend. And it feels like Easter for those sports fans out there. The Masters tournament is happening. It's not officially spring until the Masters is on everybody TV everywhere, right?
Oh yeah, I've seen people watching that. That's what's going on right now.
Yeah, green hats, green jackets.
Basketball's over, on to that.
Is that right? Yeah, I know. San Diego State, hey, they gave it their all, and they gave it their best. And I mean, number 2 in the country is kind of rad for those Aztec fans out there. Nice work.
Definitely. I mean, I would have to say, as San Diego State student here, not an alumni, can't say that because I didn't graduate from there, but spent time there. Then got into real estate because, as we all know, I mean, that's probably right. So, anyways, but we wanted to jump on here on this Friday and talk a little bit about like gratitude and grit. There's a lot of stuff going on in our world and just in real estate in general, and we wanted to just give you guys some inspiration and kind of just help you guys, let you know we're in this too with you.
Absolutely, yeah, gratitude and grit. Well, why grit? Because it can be gritty to be grateful, but we'll get to that. What is the thing that you say, it's one of my favorite things you say about what you appreciate?
What you appreciate, appreciates.
That means it gets bigger, right? Kind of like when Tony Robbins or Ed Milet or these guys talk about whatever you focus on expands. And so, you know, we are all subject to the human condition, and the amygdala, which is responsible for giving little rewards like dopamine or like little hormones like cortisol to be aware and to be fearful and give you anxiety just to prepare your 100% alertness. We all wake up with a shot of cortisol the first thing in the morning to make sure there's no saber-toothed tiger or Deborah in accounting that's trying to kill you, right?
Ruin your job, ruin your career.
Yeah, and so one of the things I've done over the last probably 3 to 5 years is embrace gratitude. One of the first things in the morning in meditation, or just sitting and think about what I have that I really enjoy and appreciate, like my family, like a car that runs, like a roof over my head, like a beautiful city to live in. There's so much. Lungs that can take in oxygen that translates to the blood that takes oxygenated blood to my muscles and allows them to function. I mean, there's so much to be happy about.
We're here. Look at where we're at. I mean, regardless of anything going on, we are able to be in the world. I think out of all the places I've been, I know Ryan's a huge traveler too. San Diego is the finest city. It is. I love flying home. I love coming back to San Diego. Every time I fly home, I'm like, we're back. Like, this is home. Yeah. And we're so grateful to be in a place like this. I mean, regardless of the rain, where we're over it, there's still people like shoveling snow in other places right now. And like, I'm like hot in a sweater. I'm like, okay, it's time. So there's so many things to be grateful. And we all think like, oh, well, it's so like, I have friends that will ask me like, well, do you write the same things down every day when you're doing your gratitude? And it's like, no, I actually try it each day. I try to pick out 5 different things because sure, we can all say, oh, we're grateful to wake up. We're grateful to put our feet on the ground and have that. But really dig deep. Like, think about your family. Think about your bills you can pay, things that you're doing, your business, your systems. There's so much to be grateful for.
I mean, and when you spend time appreciating things, then they appreciate it, as Haylie likes to say, but also it gets you in the right frame of mind of abundance. Because if you can take what you already have and want what you have instead of always seeking what you think you want, then you're operating from a place of gratitude, appreciation, and working at a frequency that invites other things also on that frequency. And when you take a look at, well, this happened to me and that was good, it's not a big leap to think, oh my gosh, maybe there's more good ahead for me, right? So it gives you more of a positive outlook, a little bit of belief and faith, if you will, but it brings and attracts good things into your life. So where does the grit fit in?
Well, just one more thing on that before we get into the grit. It's just like Tony Robbins does say, what does he say? Where your focus goes, your energy flows.
That's right.
Like that right there, one of the greatest mindset people that we follow or that we know says it right there. What you're focused on, that's where your energy goes. So we were talking a little bit about this earlier. If you're focused on like the negative and the, oh, I can't do this, or my tires, I need new tires and I don't have bills to pay this, and that's where we get stuck in, and that's where we start to focus. And guess what? The universe throws more of that at you. They're like, oh, you want more of that? Here you go. Yeah. We'll keep giving that to you. So if you can focus on, oh, I hit a pothole. God, thankfully, we have a car to drive that we can hit a pothole, and we can go get a tire fixed. And you know, how many times I think Brian's known me for like 5 years now, and how many car issues have I had? I'm like always having car issues. Tires, tire lights on, need oil change, all these kinds of things that, you know, I tend to put off a lot. But I'm grateful to have a car to drive. So we think about these things, and it's just, I wanted to touch on that, what you do focus on, that's where your energy goes. So be really cognizant on what you're focusing on. What are you thinking?
Well, and if you're thinking about I can't, or this sucks, or this, oh my gosh, I'm a victim, or what, you're going to end up like a wet blanket, and nobody's going to be attracted by a wet blanket. The universe is not going to be like, hook him up. He's awesome. You want to be functioning at a level of abundance, at least appreciating ground zero or a baseline for what you have, because I think when you take what you have and you can make a difference with that, it inspires you to get more, to make a bigger difference. So that,
which leads us right into the grit part of it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Great segue.
I mean, look, hey, we wake up every day, I know there's going to be adversity, there's going to be good, there's going to be a tough conversation, there's going to be an awesome conversation, all
we get
that.
Fired, we get hired, we get all the things.
We get one call, we lose a $3 million deal, we get another call, we get 5 more deals, right? It's just the ebbs and flow emotionally of what we have to prepare for, get our minds right so we can bring our best version of ourselves to the day. And the difficulty and the grittiness of being grateful is even when something doesn't go your way, you can find the good or the lesson and say to yourself, this is good because. So it's good that I got a flat tire because I got to spend more quality time with my kids, where I learned that somebody was picking on my daughter at school. See how it kind of flips it for you, right? And that there is a good in most situations, and we just have to go find it. I think being grateful today for what we have right now allows us to be a little more open to see the good in what can look like an adverse situation or conflict or something not so awesome, right? So if we have a better shot of doing that if we start with what I have is awesome, I appreciate it, and then I'm open to seeing the silver linings playbook or the win and the loss or whatever cliche you want to go with. It just, at least you start catching that, and then you start catching that vibe, and the conflict or the adversity or the problem, they become a challenge, but I can overcome that challenge. And you start being in a mindset where you can kind of take that stuff in stride. But if we start in the dumps, and in the nadir, in the valley, in the low point, and low energy, then when something does happen, oh, it's just like this to happen to me. Of course it would happen to me. I'm the victim.
Yeah, how many people do you know that you hear them say that all the time? Like, well, it's just my luck for this to happen to me, or this always happens to me, this is all, I'm always running late. That's what we start to identify ourselves as. And I don't want to identify myself as a negative person. I'm not a negative person. So
well, the primary voice we listen to is our own. And that kind of thinking weaves itself into your self-narrative. So we're talking to ourselves all the time. I'm a little crazy, but I'm not so crazy.
I got like 10 people talking to myself. So.
All the time. That's a whole different podcast, okay? But we
a personal podcast.
It weaves itself into what you say to yourself, and you believe yourself, you guys. So be kind. Mix in some kindness and happiness, and you will be astounded at the results. So that's where it gets gritty. Because even it's easy when it's sunshine and rainbows and deals are falling from the sky and we're all slapping high fives and setting records. It's easy. But sometimes when it's tough sledding, we're going against the grain, or we're going up a steep hill, that's where we need to find the gratitude there. Because that power we're tapping into is going to be the force that drives us up the hill and out of the adversity.
Whew!
Right?
Mic drop!
Bam!
Which we do still have title to talk about.
Oh yeah. Don't leave this
Don't leave yet.
Don't leave this
But that, you know, that's where Ryan and I, he helps me, I help him. Some days I'm the one in the dumps, some days he's the one in the dumps, and we have to push each other. Katie, on our team, we all push each other and have each other's backs to know, like, it happens to have a day. But once you get into gratitude and starting, like, I told him today, I was like, you know what, I wasn't really having a great weekend. Now I saw my people, and I'm so much better. So much better. So it really does help having that gratitude fixture, which leading us into talking about taxes.
Well, so one thing, Ralph Waldo Emerson says it's a universal law that one cannot help another without being helped themselves. And it's a version of that quote. That's more of a paraphrase. But it's so true. When you help others, we rise by lifting others. I can't, if I'm feeling discouraged, I can encourage another, and I get encouraged along the way. So think about that. But one of the things that's super hard to be grateful for is like Uncle Sam.
I saw one of our agents yesterday do a video. It was like property tax guy and like emptying his pockets, and so there's all sorts of different kinds of taxes. I mean, we got city, county, everything. They want to tax us on everything.
Consumption tax.
If they wanted to tax us on just being a person, I think they got that too, right? Somewhere.
They're trying to get like the net wealth.
Yes. So one thing though that we see, not super common, but it does come up that we wanted to touch on real quickly was, we'll talk about supplementals, we'll talk about that, but unsecured taxes. Like when we see those come up and people are like, well, what the heck is this unsecured tax? What does this mean? So unsecured taxes are a value-based tax, but they are based on things that are not secured by real property. So it's not a supplemental because supplementals are secured by the assessed value on the real property. This could be on a boat, an airplane, personal business expenses, all those kind of things that people still own that could be assessed differently in value. So
like personal property.
Personal
there's
property.
Real property, the land, and everything permanently affixed to it, and then there's personal property.
So those were big examples that we've seen pretty often are boats, yachts, airplanes. Yeah, we saw one where they had an airplane, and I was like, oh, that must be nice. Yeah, you're going to pay taxes on your airplane, bro. Your airplane is reassessed in value.
Exactly.
So those are different things, but there are also like mobile homes that are another issue with unsecured taxes because they're not secured. Yeah, another example. And then the escape and like prorated of the supplementals. So what does that mean? Like if it's not supplementals, but it's unsecured.
Well,
what does that mean?
That's the convergence of personal and real property, right? Because you have prorated taxes, but it just so happens that there's 6 months worth of prorated taxes because they reassessed or something. So you have a supplemental tax, but you're only on the hook for it for like 4 out of the 6 months. So there's a prorated amount there that at a certain point in time is no longer secure because ownership transfers, right? If you're in the middle of the escrow and you're on the hook for 4 months of them and then the proration, but you're no longer on the property, so now you've got this value and tax against you that's no longer secured. So it therefore becomes a secured to an unsecured form of tax that still needs to be settled throughout the process. So there's a lot of nuance, and our job is to bring to you the concepts and big chunky things about taxes and how they relate to settlement services, escrow, title, etc. But when it comes to the nuance, more granular stuff, we've got Candy Church, 35 years in the business.
Yeah, well, and too, like the San Diego County Tax website is they actually did a very, very good job on being a great resource. So they have the whole, I don't want to give it to you guys on a video because it's a lot to understand the actual equation of figuring out the unsecured taxes, but there is that equation to figure out what those would be, and then also the equations on there for figuring out what supplemental taxes are. So supplemental taxes are any time that there was a transfer in the property, their property can be reassessed, and whatever that new value amount is, that difference is going to be the supplemental tax. However, it can't exceed a certain amount. It can't do there's certain stipulations that go into place with it. And we'll put the link on this post too, or I'll send it to you guys individually for the supplemental taxes. I love sending that to our clients because the San Diego County Tax Assessor's website did a great job of breaking it down and being it so you guys are able to send that to your clients. But supplemental taxes are really anytime the property is reassessed, it's that value difference of now the new owners are going to be paid on that.
Okay, so secured by the property taxes, and then unsecured is like real property that is personal property, not real property. See, it's tricky.
It's tricky. It's confusing. And then, let's not talk about like mellow roof. That's a whole other video we'll talk about.
Mellow roof ain't nothing mellow about mellow roofs. Okay?
Special assessments, we did that last time. We learned that. Yeah. So taxes can get pretty tricky. We see them come up on the preliminary reports. We get the questions all the time when agents are like, what is this unsecured tax? what is this supplemental tax? Why is this on here? And it's our job to help explain that to you guys. And now knowing unsecured taxes are not secured by real property, but they are still an assessed base value on taxes. So,
and you know, Uncle Sam's always gonna get hit. So we got your back. Any questions, any scenarios, anything, any case studies you want to run by us. So so that is mindset. That's a little title talk. And then we want to get into tactics. One tactic that you can go do, and we like to give you ideas that you can stop, go do this today, and maybe originate a piece of business, right? So in the vein and kind of theme of taxes, what's a good kind of leading indicator, red flag of distress that the seller might be headed into a situation where they might have to sell?
Well, since we're talking about taxes and unsecured supplemental property taxes, when there's a tax default, when we get notified that there's been tax default on the property, that could be an indication of some kind of hardship going in. I mean, property taxes aren't cheap, guys. And we've seen them. I've seen prices on these things that I'm like, jaw dropped on some of them. It is not cheap to live here in California.
Well, you've heard of house rich, cash poor?
Exactly.
So if you experienced, 5 to 10% appreciation, which over the last 24 to 36 months is not uncommon, then you've got all of a sudden $100,000 in appreciation, and then there's taxes that come along with that appreciation, and you've got to pay those taxes. So some people aren't in a position to do that for whatever reason, and it can be a leading indicator of bigger issues where that homeowner is going to need some help exiting that property. And then you can take that, and what a real ninja tip of the day would be is to take tax delinquencies and tax defaults where there's evidence they have not paid their property taxes for whatever reason, and put it on top of consumer debt, or on top of divorce, or overlay it on bankruptcy.
Oh my gosh,
which
if
makes
I
a lot of
saw,
sense.
I mean, if I saw a tax delinquent overlaid on a bankruptcy, like that means
Something's
huge
happening.
indication on that something. And you know what? We've mentioned this before. It's not the sunshine and rainbows part of real estate, but it is the people that need your help the most. And you're helping these people get out of some of their darkest times in life, moving on to the next chapter, and being able to take out whatever cash they can, pay their bills, get things done, and move on. And sometimes we've had a lot of agents become really, really great friends with their clients out of that aspect because they were able to help them on to their next chapter and really help them through a dark part of times.
Yeah, because it's easy to just be like, just stay away. But when you show up and usher somebody through that valley, that low point in their life, that's where bonds are being made. And when it's not about you, when it's about the customer and exiting. And the good news is most properties, I would argue, have positive equity so that it can still be a traditional sale. They don't have to have a loss mitigation, negotiation going on with the bank. They can sell and live to fight another day. And so targeting those individuals and so you don't beat them up with like a stick, I know you're going through bankruptcy like a piñata. That's not the point, okay? What you want to do is open the door and allow them to walk through it with marketing that would attract that kind of a person subtly, right?
Yeah, so hit us up on those ideas. We definitely can help with that kind of tactic, that data. Title, we have that. We are able, because it's recorded on an APN.
Right.
So let us know. We can definitely help you guys come up with the ideas, the systems, and how to actually go after these people.
And they will be grateful that you help them out.
They will appreciate you so much more.
Absolutely. And so until next time, this is, we brought it full circle there. With the
We did really good on that one.
It was a little pretty of a transition. No moves on anyway. No. Thank you for listening if you did. Until next time, she's Haylie and I'm Ryan and we're Ticor Title.
Bye!
Bye guys, happy Easter.